Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome our panelists for this session. And if they can please come up to the stage once I call their names. Mr. Eliseo Garofalo, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Oxagon. Dr. Ahmed Nafisa, who is a Smart Cities Advisor at the Saudi Data Artificial Intelligence Authority. Dr. Khalid Al-Mashouk, CTO and Vice Chairman at ACES. And Dr. Iman bin Khnain, who's the General Manager of Smart Cities Institute and Co-Director of the Center of Complex Engineering Systems at King Abdulaziz City for Science and Technology. Thank you. So today we're here to talk about the future of cities, but not just smart cities. We're going to be talking about cognitive cities that don't just collect data. Cognitive cities actually learn, adapt, and evolve to serve people better. Smart cities have laid the foundation for urban digital transformation by integrating sensors, Internet of Things, and automation to improve efficiency. But the future of cities will likely be cognitive, where artificial intelligence, data-driven learning, and real-time adaptation make urban systems more responsive, more sustainable, more resilient, and more people-centric. However, this shift isn't only about technology. Its success depends on three key elements. The first is governance, the second is public trust, and the third is ethical deployment of artificial intelligence. So in today's discussion, we're going to talk about the enablers of cognitive cities, from public-private partnerships to scalable investment models, to development of local talent, and national strategies that can actually turn ideas into reality. So before we delve into our discussion, I'd like to ask each of our panelists, what is the biggest misconception about cognitive cities that we need to clear up today? So Eliseo, if you can maybe tell us what you think the biggest misconception is in 1 minute?
I think is about thinking that cognitive city is all about AI. Okay, actually, there is much more to it than the AI itself. If we think about all the core backbone of things that you need to get right before getting to be able to start the work for cognitive city, that is extremely important, right? So infrastructure, data. Those two core elements are at the base foundations of everything that comes later on. So, AI is coming later. Most of the things of cognitive city start with automations, heuristic decisions, and making the base core foundations right, and then iterate on top of that.
Thank you. Dr. Ahmed?
Thank you, Dr. Basma, for leading the panel. And thank you for the organizer, actually. So when we talk about cognitive city, it's actually a combination for three elements: the infrastructure, the data, and the capability buildings. All this combination is gonna generate a proper or solid cognitive city. So these are the three elements of the main cognitive city.
Thank you. Dr. Khalid, so we heard AI, data, and talent.
Okay, thank you. I think the most misconception about cognitive city is that it is a project, that you allocate budget, you execute it, you finish it. This is not the case. Cognitive city is a journey. It already started, but slow. It will never end, simply.
Thank you. Dr. Iman.
First of all, thank you for having us here discussing our future of cities. I think the biggest misconception about the cognitive city, as my colleague mentioned, that thinking that cognitive city is an advanced version of smart city, where more sensors, more data, more automation. But the fact that is the cognitive city should go beyond that. It's about being proactive and predictive. So, for example, learning from patterns anticipate the challenges before they arise, and dynamically adapt the solution to serve the human needs. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctora. So I'd like to first address the topic of public-private partnerships, because we know that public-private partnerships are going to be fundamental in the area of cognitive cities. And I'd like to address my first question to Doctora Iman. So can you tell us how public-private partnerships are seen as key to cognitive city success, but many actually operate as rigid contracts rather than true innovation drivers? So could you perhaps tell us what needs to change to make public-private partnerships more human-centric?
First of all, I think we need to redefine the success of the partnership itself. Not being by short-term returns. Let's move it to and make it by long-term community impact. Then we need more flexible, adaptive agreement that allow experimentations and iteration, and also involve the citizens and people and local stakeholders from the beginning of developing the system itself, to make sure that they add this solution, this technology solution, actually addressing a real problem for their needs, and also so we can move from public-private partnership to what we can call people public-private partnership, where the people actually playing the primary role in this partnership. Also utilizing the technology to be as a tool for transparency and allowing sharing data for between all partners in the public and the private sector, which going to enhance the trust and also providing the framework for receiving continuous feedback from the citizen will help to address as we mentioned, real world issue.
Thank you, Doctora. So you talked about the importance of human centricity, transparency, which is also important to develop trust. So I'd like now to turn to the topic of infrastructure, and I'd like to address my question to Dr. Khalid. We know that cities tend to invest very heavily in smart infrastructure, but how can we actually ensure that these investments translate into real improvements for citizens? And how do we measure that return on investment in terms of not only financial gains, but actually human impact?
Okay, thank you. Apparently, infrastructure is a very important element in the cognitive city. It's not the only thing, but it is a very necessary component. And I have to mention some shortcoming from the current infrastructure that will slow any cognitive city or even smart city implementation. It will be a surprise for you maybe to notice that the 5G network implemented today in the kingdom is non-standalone, which means it doesn't have all the features of the 5G. 5G is actually brought not for speed. Speed is one part of it, but for other functions, for low latency, for mass communication, etc. Due to the let me say, non-agreement between the private government and the society, the telco operators decided to go the easier way, the cheapest way, which is deploying the 5G over the 4G. So you are stripping the 5G from most of its feature. It's just getting only the speed. However, latency is not there. So no matter how much 5G nodes you are putting on the streets to detect, for example, speed, to give you warning, to give you advanced warning, to implement it even in the surgery room. This delay is substantial. It will block you from going into actual benefit of this infrastructure. Apparently, the Wi-Fi is worse than that, but I'm talking about going into smart, then cognitive city. You need to adapt the sensors. You need to adapt the technology that accommodates all requirements. And to start, I think it's wrong to start bottom up. You have to start top down. Top down means what's the objective of your cognitive city. And I think we're lucky in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that we have clear objectives. We have Vision 2030. This is defining the KPIs that we want to reach. What kind of health, what kind of quality of life, what kind of emission of CO2, what kind of, all these things are there. It's well defined. So you can start from there. Going down into what it takes to implement it. What it takes to implement it, what kind of subsystems, who is doing what, how to coordinate it. And I think we are lucky in Saudi Arabia also that we have decision making is not very complicated here. We can make decision after a thorough study in matter of limited time. And we have a very giant database in Sadaya. We have information about the real estate. We have about the health. We are digitizing many information in the country, so we can integrate it. But it needs to be top down to control all that and to lead to the KPI that we want to reach. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicio, we know that many cognitive city projects tend to start. And they tend to start off as really small pilots, but scalability can often be challenging. So could you perhaps share with us what are the challenges that may hinder scalability of cognitive city projects?
I think there is at least 2 or 3 main factors that we need to consider in a very critical way, being extremely critical to the current situation. So first of all, when we are speaking about cognitive city projects or smart city projects, they're triggered from very big realities, right? Very big industrial or corporate realities. Now, these realities, they are not normally very segmented, very complex by nature themselves. So a lot of POC or starting points, they come really as silos somehow, so they can't evolve in a more scalable project just because they didn't have all the alignment from all the different stakeholders, right? Maybe someone was pushing this through faster, but there was not complete alignment. So I think this is what most commonly we seems to see across the industry for like a POC that doesn't evolve, to the next phase. But I think a lot of other initiatives, they're just not engineered to scale, in the sense that you start with in mind a specific project, right? Oh, we want to do this specific deployment for these specific solutions, but you don't create the evaluations boundary at the beginning of the project to say, if this is a successful project, actually, how do we bring it to the next level, right? I mean, this level of evaluation is normally done when it's too late, after that you actually did a POC, and this is like a big issue. And I see there is a good example around the world is Copenhagen. Copenhagen as a city actually have deployed a framework that does this for any initiative that they need to do at scale. I think probably the last reason why we don't see POC getting up to scale is because they're not, sometimes they're just not procured to scale or sourced to scale. And let me try to elaborate maybe on this. We tend to always follow budget cycles by nature, in big organizations, and these tend to create contracts that are more shorter or more project focused, while instead, forecasting that this can be a successful project, and then it may change what you need through times. Maybe you need, a more flexible contract with lower rate, later compared before, right? Maybe you need a set numbers of solutions that change through time. So we are not used to procure and source things in this way, and that potentially become a scalability issues later on.
Thank you. So, Dr. Ahmed, Alicio spoke about some of the challenges, such as procurement, the siloed efforts that tend to happen, and proofs of concepts. So the Kingdom is pioneering a number of large-scale cognitive city projects. So how can we ensure that we overcome these challenges and perhaps other challenges, while also ensuring that cities remain interoperable and that our initiatives are not fragmented?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are lucky in Saudi Arabia that we have bridging the gap among the ecosystem of AI and smart city. For example, under the umbrella of Sadaya, they have 3 arms. The first arm focusing on the innovation part, which is the National Center for AI. The second arm, which is the NIC, the National Information Center, which they operate and maintain the governmental services, and they host the governmental cloud computing to make sure there is no fragmented efforts among the governmental sector. The third one, which is the National Data Management Office, which they focus mainly on setting the regulation, policies, and governance of the data and AI. I'll give some example. I mean, here in Saudi Arabia, we do have the governmental cloud computing. It's called DEEM Cloud Computing. This governmental cloud computing consolidating more than 270 governmental data center in only a single cloud to make sure that there is no redundancy and there is no fragmented efforts among the country. I'll give another example. We have one national platform. Actually, most of the platforms that developed in Saudi Arabia, especially within Sadaya, it's a national platform. We do have a platform that supports the decision maker among the governmental sector. It's called Istishraf, trying to predict the future. This a single platform. It's generates a cutting cost and profit for the country for the last 3 years, almost 52 billion Saudi riyals, by consolidating all these kind of efforts and make sure to provide an insight from this single platform to the decision maker within the country. One example, my colleague, Engineer Muhammad, he presented the National Smart Sea Platform, C as he mentioned, from citizen, city and country, providing services for provide more than 110 services to the governmental sector. Yes,
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. So now I'd like to switch gears. We spoke about enablers, and now let's talk about how can we make these solutions scalable and sustainable. So I'd like to come back to you, Dr. Iman. Could you please tell us, what does a people-first, public-private partnership model look like? And could you also please give us an example of a public-private partnership that truly inspired citizen well-being?
Thank you, Dr. Basma. I think making the people an active collaborators rather than passive beneficiaries. Also, instead of a simple technology handoff, the government and the private entities working together with the people to create the solution and share the responsibility, share the risk, as well as they sharing the rewards. A good example here, the Saha virtual hospital initiative that led by Ministry of Health. In collaboration with private tech firms and also local healthcare providers. They working together to create a model that give a platform to involve the people and the citizen and provide healthcare services to everyone, even those one who is in remote region. So by involving the people, the citizen, by let them providing a feedback on their needs, on the services they want from virtual hospital, in addition to the contribution from the private sector with providing the cutting-edge technologies and expertise that create together an integrated telehealth ecosystem that can dynamically adapt the feedback from the users and addressing the real needs of the patients.
Thank you. I'd like to turn back to you, Dr. Khalid. If we go beyond infrastructure, can you tell us how the Internet of Things use cases can actually be designed to create real value for everyday life? So for instance, in mobility, safety, healthcare.
Okay. I think you listened to the gentleman who talked before this session from Sadaya about the value they're providing to the different government agency in traffic, in green coverage, etc. I ask privately, are you getting this information from the mobile network or from the car itself? Apparently they're taking it from mobile network, same way Google doing it. I think today, not today even, long time ago, all machines coming to country, cars, air conditions, all kind of appliances, it has its own smart module. It has its language also to communicate. Cars today, they communicate with each others. They have their own language. Any car that's been entered to Saudi Arabia after, I think, 2004, it has this kind of ability to talk. I wish, as you mentioned, Dr. Basma, to generalize the standardization so we can have homogeneous language, homogeneous infrastructure to apply not only on NEOM line but also everywhere. And this will happen if we start standardizing, number one, this machine language, or not machine language, the language of the machine, and also to make sure 1,000%, there is a privacy issue, and we are protecting the privacy of individuals. Take, for example, today, the Google, again, the Google example. Google is collecting, because they are giving you service, you have to allow them to take your information. And they acquire this information, put it on the map, give you the traffic. And this is part of the cognitive city. When you go morning, you choose your best route, etc. However, we need to generalize this in a better way, and maybe in a way that's very brave and very revolutionary. Today, everyone in Saudi Arabia, he has application called Baladi, Madinati. I use it a lot. If I see any violation in the street, I just report it. Trash or problem in the road, I just take pictures. Imagine 30 million people are sending every day 30, 40, 100 million pictures. And it's accessible by some agency to analyze the whole situation. It's not only the traffic. It is a picture, maybe live picture. You align it, you detect. Actually, if you do that, probably your dependency on IoT will be much less. It's a cooperation between the society and the government and the industry. We can report things live. We can detect things live with reduced cost. Thank you.
So, Alicio, you mentioned earlier that one of the challenges for scalability of cognitive cities is the procurement models. And we're talking about scalability right now of cognitive cities. So could you please tell us what sort of procurement models, challenge-based, outcome-driven, can actually help cities scale innovation beyond just pilots?
Sure. I mean, first of all, you need to get to the miracle to convince your procurement team to change the mentality and move out from somehow the low-cost estimate award or the scope of work model. Once you achieve that, I think there are a few different things that can be done. First of all, because the market and the technology is evolving so much, I think one of the new way of approaching procurement would be just for a challenge based, right? It's a solution based. It says, I'm looking for a solution for this thing, and let the market propose you what is the solutions that better fit from their point of view. Now, why this is different and important? Because somehow the market always adapts. Okay, your company may not always adapt. Okay, so in this case, you are letting the market influence your decisions, but this means that somehow you will have to evaluate proposals that may be completely different one from each other, right? So you need to handle that. Another kind of procurement that I can imagine, and I actually see something of this kind very recently, is shopping for impact. So saying, I want to achieve 30% saving on energy consumption, okay? So you are giving a specific KPI to achieve. And then, again, letting the market decide for you. In this case, I saw, for example, recently a company, they were very innovative. They were doing like temperature conditioning, leveraging quantum entanglement, right? So something very extremely futuristic. And they were saying, look, we don't ask you for money, okay? We do it for free, but we take back a percentage of the saving that we make for you, right? So they were so confident that they can actually make saving that it says, okay, you don't need to pay us at the beginning, pay us after right? And they're probably going to make 3 times the money that they would have make, if you would shop it in a normal way. And in this way, is a win-to-win situations, right? You save, they make more money. We are all happy. I think these are the 2 main models that I would envision as challenge and outcome-based. But probably there is a third, more commercial model that we can think about that is really get more into the co-innovation, co-commercializations approach, right? So working more with, I can decide to work with a partner, maybe it's an industry partner, and develop something together. Okay, I make some investment, they make some investment, then they can sell it on my behalf. Okay, I can pay some of that of the development with the revenues that is generated together. Right? So that is another things that can become a commercial model more diffuse, but that we now are not taking much advantage of.
And there's also the World Economic Forum's innovation-friendly procurement model policy that was developed by the G20 Smart Cities Alliance. And essentially that policy focuses on how do we not stifle innovation and also promote SMEs to also be part and parcel of these different innovation procurement models as well, which is, I think, going to be fundamentally important also as we move forward. I'd like to turn to you, Dr. Ahmed, again, if I may. And we haven't touched on this yet, and this is very important to our discussion, which is the focus on governance and policies. So can you tell us what sort of policies, for example, AI governance, open data, digital rights, etc., are important to ensure human well-being in cognitive cities?
Yes, sure. When we talk about AI governance, actually, so there we do totally focus on governing the technology and testing the new regulations. So in Saudi Arabia, we have many initiatives. I may highlight one initiative which is the ethical guideline for the people who want, or any entities that they want to use AI in general, or for the individual within the city. Today they announced before 3 months ago the international center, which we call it iCare, under the umbrella of United Nations. They are tackling actually the issues related to ethical AI. Another sandbox that has been announced as well, which related to the regulation and the privacy of using AI within the smart city. To make sure also to allow all the people to contribute to the smart city project and initiatives that may positively impact the communities and the citizen. Today they announced the open data platforms. So anyone who want to test or try to develop any AI model, they can use a sample data and actually a hashed data that they can develop their initial models. So this is some initiatives that already announced within Saudi Arabia.
Thank you. Now, I've been told our time is up. As much as we'd like to continue this conversation, I'd like to thank all of our panelists for this discussion. And we've seen that cognitive cities are not just about technology. They're much more than that. They're about governance, investment, and design choices that make life better for people. And so the future of cities isn't just smart, it's human. So thank you, and a round of applause to our esteemed panelists.